Hello my friends, this is Waking Angel 2001 coming at you with a review of the Tornado Biplane. Kind of a basic name, but like you think that they would call it the Deluxe or the Ultimate, but nope, it's just the Tornado Biplane. There are some subtitles, like it is part of the Classic branch, as opposed to the last Tornado, which was movie style. And it has that iconic image of classic Sonic in the ring. So, yep, it's one set. It's includes a Sonic figure, and the sides of the box, as well as the back, talk about all the features that it has, including sounds, lights, pegboards. And the one obviously negative thing I can say is that it seems to have a hard sculpted blur effect instead of a proper propeller. That's the only thing that I don't really like about this Tornado. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. Let's get this thing out of this gigantic box so that we can, see the plane itself. Oh, and for context on just how big this box actually is, here's the movie Tornado. Yeah, that is a ridiculously oversized box. Let's see how big the plane itself is. Alright, and here is the economy of space. You got that big old top wing, which I'm actually impressed. The top wing almost does indeed go all the way across that space. And there is the classic Sonic figure. And there is the hull of the Tornado itself. So it actually is significantly bigger than the movie Tornado. If I put them side by side, you can see the movie Tornado barely reaches up to the fins of this thing. Although, funnily enough, the actual wingspan is only about, I'd say, maybe 2 inches more. So, the plane's hull is easily, like 3 inches longer, but the wingspan not by as much. Interesting. Okay, so there's obviously a lot of zip ties and stuff holding this thing down. Oh, also, it requires 3 AAA batteries, which are not included, so I'm going to get this thing properly out, we're going to assemble it, and it's going to have the batteries inside so I can properly review the toy itself. Okay, so here is the Tornado in all of its fully assembled glory. In order to fit everything in the shot, I had to pull the camera way back, so I'm actually too far from the plane to reach it, to interact with it for this shot. But let's get to talking. I guess the first thing we can do is talk about the classic Sonic figure it comes with. For all intents and purposes, this feels like just another re-release of a good old-fashioned classic Sonic with the neutral stance. Except I feel like there was some kind of mold issue, because if you look carefully at his left foot, it's pointed down. This actually makes it impossible to stand the figure because that foot is not flat. In order to make the foot actually flat, the leg has to be forward a bit. Was this something of an attempt to replicate the pensive foot tapping? Is that what they were going for? Because it does seem that it would be better aligned that way. And that does also seem to be the only way to actually get the figure to stand. Because, yeah, I had to take it out of camera so I could stand up on the little table I have this thing set up on. But yeah, this Sonic is not actually meant to, stand too much because he has pegs on the wings of the plane, which you can stick into his feet. And there you go. Sonic can totally wing walk on here. And there are 4 pegs on the top wing alone. So you can also, stand him on one of those other pegs. And it works out pretty okay. There's even pegs on the lower wings, so you can practically use this whole thing as a figure display setup. Although on the lower wing, his face is kind of impacting it, but it kind of works still. Yeah. So this thing can practically be a display stand for your classic Sonic figures. Let's see. You'd have Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Amy. Well, actually, you could probably put Tails in a cockpit, and then the wing can have Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Sonic, Knuckles, Amy, maybe Mighty or Ray. Well, Mighty, Ray, Metal Sonic possibly. Yeah, you have room to peg in 6 figures. So yeah, the original iconic cast of Sonic the Hedgehog has 6 characters in it. You know, like it's Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Amy, Metal Sonic, and Dr. Eggman. They're like the core 6 characters that make up the classic cast. And if we take a look inside the cockpit, you see that there's an interesting little shape there. It just looks like some kind of arrow thingy. And I believe that is just to make it super easy to get the Sonic figure sat in there and gripping it. So, let us, yeah. Yeah, Sonic doesn't even really grip it with his hands. It's more like his feet hook the thing. And then he actually looks pretty good in there. Yep. Yep, with his feet holding him in place, the figure is actually very well situated in the plane. Speaking of which, the plane has amazing details. You can see it has sculpted rivets, and the pegs that figures are meant to stand on are sculpted so that they just kind of blend in with the rivets. Nice touch. The side of the plane has Sonic with that swooshy thing, which on this side always made me think Sonic F. I know it's not actually supposed to be an F, it's just supposed to be a little swooshy thing, but my brain always told me Sonic F when I looked at it. And of course it has Tails' little emblem on the back. It's a star with wings coming out of it. Like I said, the one thing I don't like is that instead of a proper propeller, you just have this circle of plastic with sculpted in swooshy effects to constantly look like a motion blur. I could see the appeal of that, but I would have preferred a proper propeller, especially when we start to get into electronic gimmicks on this thing. The wheels turn, even the one in the rear landing gear. Although keep in note, the rear landing gear doesn't actually touch the ground when it's there because the jet engine is on the bottom, and it is not removable. I was kind of thinking that this would be like the Eggmobile and have a certain degree of modularity to it, but no, you can't take this off. There's no propeller to swap out. It's all just one solid thing. However, oh, and for one thing, all the screw holes are on the left side of the plane, and the right side is the one that's clean. I really don't think they should have done. I think it should have been that this side would be clean and put the screw holes in the left. Because, you know, in the Sonic games, you go from the right side of the screen to the left side. So you're going to want to look at this side of the plane to have it, you know, properly in your head that this is what we're doing. Like, in order to get a clean look at the plane, why are you going backwards to the stage, Sonic? You're supposed to advance to the right. I know that's a really weird thing to nitpick, but, you know, considering, like, going from left to right is one of the most iconic things, not only in Sonic games, but in pretty much any video game, it just seems weird to me that that's the case. Alright, so I'm just going to do this real quick. We're going to bring out the movie Tornado for one last comparison, and it is absolutely no comparison at all. Remember, folks, the movie Tornado cost 20 bucks. This behemoth costs 45. So, aside from all the electronics and sound gimmicks, it's just a physically significantly bigger toy. So, you know, make sure you have good display room for this kind of thing. It's huge. Alright. Now, I guess I'm gonna bring the camera in a little. Now, you know what? I think I can just walk around and talk to the camera. Here we go. Alright. Hopefully the audio isn't completely off now that I'm on the opposite side of the camera. Alright, so here is the power switch on the bottom. I'm going to hold it closer to the camera so we can hear the sound. It has a ring sound that kicks in. Alright, so first of all, just like the plane from Sonic Boom, it's motion sensitive. Turning it sideways brings out that neum neum sound effect. This is the switch on top. Alright. And note that was the the sound effect of hitting a signpost marker. I didn't... Okay, suffice to say, that's Angel Island's theme song from Sonic 3, and it plays for quite a long time. I just didn't want this video to get copyright claimed for music because, you know, YouTube is stupid. So, yeah, and I'm going to turn it back on now. And there's one more feature when you pull the rear landing gear like a trigger. You see, make sure everything is centered. Okay, so you see, that's the thing. It has a motorized spinning propeller gimmick that's triggered when you turn it on. By the way, this thing runs on 3 AAA batteries. I think I mentioned that before, but you know, just want to bring it up again. And like, if you're gonna have a spinning propeller gimmick, why do you have a motion blur disc? You could have a proper propeller. Like, were they afraid that some kid would put their eye out? I mean, again, I hate to bring it up, but this thing has a proper spinning propeller gimmick. Is it because, like, this is just like a passive thing, so they don't think a kid can put their eye out, but they thought that if it was motorized, maybe that was it? You know what? I was just saying that off the top of my head, but that's probably exactly why they did it. They don't want some stupid kid to put their eye out with the propeller blade that's spinning on a motor. Alright, so there is one more feature. I'm going to turn off my overhead light to make it a little dimmer here to make it come out easier. And the last feature, of course, if you hold the button down, it lights up. Yeah, it doesn't touch the button, it plays the Angel Island theme. Hold it down for a second, and you get airplane noises, and the afterburn from the rocket lights up. So, light and sound gimmickry. And again, look, beautiful detailing. You got rivets, you got everything. This thing, like, the only thing, like, maybe if the tires could have been painted, but I'm not sure if this is accurate to the game or not. I'm not sure if completely black rims are accurate to the game, or they just couldn't budget in that little amount of paint, but whatever. Everything else is just amazing on this thing. This is absolutely the toy of the Tornado that I would have wanted when I was a little boy. Like, 8-year-old me would have gone absolutely gonzo for this. It probably would have been my favorite thing in the universe. Like, I probably would have... When I was a little kid, I had one of those giant styrofoam planes, and I had it hung from my ceiling, and it hung there pretty much my entire way through elementary school. It was on my ceiling for years. This thing, if it existed back then, it would probably have been hanging from my ceiling and still been there to this very day. Like, oh my god, this is probably one of the most epic vehicle sets that I've ever seen. I mean, it's not like we have that many Sonic vehicles to compare to. Like, there is the Eggmobile, which is so much smaller and gets by on modularity. Like, then there's the Death Egg Robot, which I feel kind of missed the mark because it put gimmick over posability. The aforementioned much smaller Tornado from the movie. I think the only thing that I could compare this to would probably be the Angel's Voyage from the Sonic Boom toy line. You know, Nux the Dreads' ship. But that's really the only one that I don't have. So, as things stand, this is probably the epic and most awesome vehicle playset that has been produced for the Sonic the Hedgehog toy line ever. Yeah, if you're a fan of the Tornado and you like the classic Sonic line, then I would absolutely recommend picking this thing up. This is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, who is just doing a review this time, signing off.